Hello everyone. Today in my presentation I'll be talking about teacher support groups. Let's get started. Well, first of all, what is teacher support groups? Teacher support groups is a kind of initiative taken by educational institutions or schools, more specifically, to support teachers, whether experienced or novice, in all terms, in all possible terms, including professional development, emotional and social support, stress management, and so on. Teacher support groups usually consist of 3 or more teachers, and generally these teachers are from the same institution or from the same school. Well, why? I mean, what is the need for this kind of an initiative? Well, to understand the need, we can um, center our discussion around academic findings. First of all, up to 30% of elementary and secondary school teachers were found to leave the profession after 3 years. And most strikingly, up to half of them, of teachers, take off after 5 years. Quite important. And the main reasons they leave their profession are student misbehaviors, teachers' lack of power to make decisions about how their own classrooms are run and structured. And psychologists nowadays are trying to find ways to support teachers to keep them in the profession as long as possible and also to address their problems. Well, these ways now include developing programs that provide teachers, new teachers, with academic and social support, master's level training, community support, and hands-on experience in the industry. Well, in our case, in education. These statistics and these findings are taken from American Psychology Association's official website. And last but not least, maybe the most important finding that I've encountered is new teachers who took part in support or induction programs were much more likely to stay for a second year in the profession than those who didn't participate in such programs. Well, this is also important. This means these kind of um, support programs both improve teachers professionally and also let them stay in the profession longer and maybe improve or develop themselves more. Well, let's move on to the details. First of all, if we want to understand teacher support groups, we need to understand where it came from. I mean, where it originally emerged from. First of all, this type of support groups were originally incorporated in business and industry. Why? Because companies, industries, businesses realized that their employees had some problems, and because of these problems, their performance decreased. That's why they wanted to address these problems and they wanted to improve their employees' performances. That's why they formed support groups for their employees. This was the original idea of support groups. And then educational spheres or educators or administrators at educational institutions realized the importance of this kind of support groups for the teachers as well, because teachers also need support in many aspects. And then first, school counselors were asked to form groups to support teachers. Firstly, only in terms of emotional and social support. And then it was realized that the need is wider and more sophisticated. That's why educational institutions formed in-school support groups and asked experts in the field to lead these support groups, especially experts on professional development. And also they asked for contributions of other departments, especially contributions from counseling department. And then teacher support groups, as what we know now, then in-school support groups were formed and led by experts in the field on professional development with contributions of other departments as well, especially counseling department. And also they got the support of their school administration, because school administration knew that if they address the problems of their teachers, this will improve their teachers' performance in class and outside the class as well. But later, teacher support groups turned out to be something more, again, sophisticated, and so educators, educational administrators, let's say, have realized that the design, the components of the program, planning of the program, management of the program are important parts of teacher support groups, and these should be planned, designed, tailored very carefully to achieve success out of these kind of programs. And also, they have realized that these programs should be context specific. We cannot have a kind of standardized teacher support groups for all types of schools, even in Turkey, even in Istanbul, maybe even in a certain kind of chain school. So it should be context specific because of the fact that needs change from campus to campus, from school to school, even from, a group of teacher or department to department. So, what are the types of teacher support groups? Well, the answer depends on how you define teacher support groups. If you define it according to the management system, according to who manage the program, well, it could be categorized into two different groups, professional and peer-led. For professional teacher support groups, we can say these are designed to support teachers in terms of their professional developments, to improve their skills in the profession. On the other hand, peer-led teacher support groups are generally formed by teachers at a school, and these are generally created to foster collaboration, communication among teachers, to share, to learn from each other. And what are the areas these kind of programs, teacher support programs, support teachers? Well, depending on the purpose of the group, we can say these programs support teachers professionally, and also they support these kind of programs support teachers throughout their career educationally. Let's say they also provide opportunities for teachers. They provide opportunities for teachers to improve themselves academically and also professionally. We also have, as a kind of subcategory of professional and educational purposes, we can say, for example, newcomer support groups are one of these, one of the types of this category, and also support groups for novice teachers, and also leadership support groups are in this category. We also have emotional support groups for teachers, stress management support groups, and also socializing and recreational support groups. Purpose of the groups. Well, in the previous slide, we said the type and the area depends on the purpose. So what kind of purposes we have for while we're forming teacher support groups at schools? First of all, we just want to increase sharing among teachers and to let them learn from each other. Secondly, this is done to foster collaboration and teamwork. Next, it's meant it actually it is designed to form a positive atmosphere at schools. And then the other purpose of the teacher support groups is to gain for teachers to gain new knowledge and new skills, and also to ensure a certain pattern of behavior. Like for example, if administrators want to increase the level of professionalism in their schools, they might form teacher support groups and let them do kind of activities to achieve this goal, to get them to gain this pattern of behavior in the teacher support groups. And finally, task accomplishment. They can set a task, and in order to achieve this task, they might form teacher support groups. Well, problems or issues to be addressed in support groups are attention to diversity. Of course, this is a kind of common social problem, but this is also addressed in teacher support groups because this might also cause problems. If there's no tolerance to diversity schools, this might cause also problems. Secondly, student behavior problems, which is very common nowadays. So these kind of support groups are really helpful in support. In helping teachers find ways to deal with problems related to student behaviors. Disciplining and exerting their authority, curricular adaptation, conflicts in the relationship with other teachers, communication problems are some of the problems that are addressed in teacher support groups. While forming a teacher support group, there are some essential questions that we should ask ourselves. First of all, who is the target group? Who are going to join this group? And why is the group being developed? What is the purpose? What will be done in the meetings? Specifically, sometimes you need to plan every step very carefully, also pointing out what will be done in the meetings more clearly and in a detailed way. How will members be recruited? Is there going to be a kind of assessment, or is there going to be a kind of recruitment process, or any volunteer teacher can any volunteer teacher join the group? And will membership be open or closed, which is related to the previous item? How large will the group be? Will the group be limited in time, or will it be ongoing? This is an important decision to be made before you start. And how long will each meeting be? Again, planning more detail. planning details actually beforehand. Where will they meet and who will serve as leaders or decision makers in the group? Well, nowadays there are many different applications and implementations in terms of teacher support groups, but these are the most common ones. Mostly, teacher support groups are designed for new teachers at institutions. I mean, schools form teacher support groups mostly for newcomers, just to get them familiar with the new working environment, new teaching environment, get them oriented, and also let them uh, adapt to the new teaching environment easily. And also we have generally these kind of programs provide ongoing support on areas such as curriculum, classroom management, assessment, pedagogy, and instruction like other professional development activities in teaching. And one of the most preferred types is the one led by a mentor or an expert teacher. Well, we also have teacher support groups formed by teachers as well, but the ones that are led by a mentor or an expert are preferred more. Workshops, mini trainings, discussion sessions, action research, activities that can provide opportunities to socialize are among the most common activities that are used in teacher support groups. And these are often formed to address a certain problem of teachers, such as student behavior problems, disciplining and exerting their authority, conflicts in the relationship with other teachers, communication problems with families. What are the benefits? Well, the benefits are, of course, it brings more collaboration among teachers. It fosters teacher self-confidence, of course, and it addresses social and emotional problems of teachers. It helps them manage stress more effectively and efficiently. It provides teacher with more professional guidance, and it builds institutional culture in a positive way. And also it brings better learning and teaching experience for teachers, and also it encourages participation in professional development activities. Thanks for listening.